celebrate the unique identity that makes the UAE such a special place. This is DXB Today.
Welcome to DXB Today. Tonight on International Museum Day, we are delving into the vibrant culture and heritage of this country that we are all so privileged to call home.
Indeed, home indeed as well. Join us as we explore different places that really highlight the culture of the nation as a whole and hear some stories of how it all came to be.
And we will be joined by insightful individuals as we discuss the customs and practices that continue to shape the country and define the people. So what do you think, guys? What's your favourite thing about living in the UAE?
Oh, my goodness. Apart from the weather, which, of course, now we're going towards the warmer side, I would just say the openness of the people to different cultures. That is what I love. I came from the UK and it was quite closed-minded, especially the town I was from, to come here where I feel like, you know, I can be anything and anybody. It's beautiful.
I think it's that blend as well, isn't it? I mean, there's a great sense of optimism here. It's that never say never and can-do attitude. But I suppose if there's one thing, and that's why I'm really interested about tonight's episode, you know, there's been a lot of focus on the future, and this is a city of the future. But then equally, authorities, the visionaries, the leaders, very, very implicit in the fact that they don't want to forget the past, and therefore you can't have the future without the past as well. So looking at those foundations and what the foundations have taught us today moving forward. I mean, I've seen the cultural scene here, the museum scene, the cultural scene as a whole has changed fundamentally in the last 20 years.
And I'm excited to celebrate that today. And one of my favourite things about DXB today is the diversity between all of us, you know, and all our different perspectives melting in one. So I'm excited.
Yeah, looking forward to today's episode.
Big old melting pot, yeah?
That's
Big
what
old
we
melting pot. Stir it around. Right, shall we continue to stir? Yeah, let's stir. Exploring, as you well know, is a great way to connect with, with culture and the heritage of the world around us. Our guest co-host tonight is the chief wanderess herself, who's wandered into our studio tonight. Let's find out who today's guest co-host is.
Hi, I'm Nada Badran, an experienced curator at Wander with Nada, and I'm happy to be here at DXB today.
Nada, thanks very much indeed. Nada helps curate cultural experiences for people around the UAE and will be joining us shortly to share more about what she does. Meantime, though, Khalid has been on his own journey. He went on his own journey to explore the heritage of Dubai and submerge himself in true Emirati culture. Let's take a look.
If you want to learn about Dubai's history, this is the right place to be. Come and follow me on my journey through Shindagha Museum. So, Waleed, walk us through Old Dubai. Tell us what we are going to experience.
Khalid, it's really nice to have you in here. And you are here in the Shindagha, a historical area. The Shindagha, it's actually a really important area. And we have in it Shindagha Museum, the one we are already in it here now. We will walk through it, and I will show you different spots in the Shindagha Museum. It's really beautiful because it's something unique for Dubai. It's actually the biggest traditional and heritage museum in the United Arab Emirates. So here we are, Khalid. You can see now the creek. The creek is actually the heart of the city, where Dubai established. And as I mentioned, we are now in Shindagha. This is the Shindagha historical area. And Al-Ras is over there. Al-Fahidi, it's over there. So that's the three parts makes the city of Old Dubai. The beautiful thing about Al Maktoum residence, that Sheikh Mohammed himself lived his young life in here. The other thing about architects, and that's really beautiful to talk about. We can see here, let's say. Can you see this, Khalid?
Yes.
This is actually what we call Barjil. Barjil, it's like the wind tower. You can say it's the highest spot usually on the house, on top of the house. It's like an open box. Inside there's crisscross structure. So it's like it's the old air conditioner system. We hope everybody could come here. We talk about locals and expats and visitors to come and look at this history, look at the heritage in Dubai. It's actually very, very beautiful to see everybody here, to know about our history, and we love sharing this with them.
Thank you so much, Waleed, for showing me this beautiful area and also taking me into the past.
It was actually my pleasure to have you in here, and it's our pleasure also to have everyone in this museum. We hope that everybody visits in any time here, and you could follow us on our social media or on our website, Shindagha Museum. Also, you could see all the new things that we have.
Now, the Shindagha Museum is, of course, the UAE's largest heritage museum and wants to attract more than 1 million visitors by 2025. Now, to talk a little bit more about museums and the heritage and the culture of this magnificent city, joining us in the studio is none other than Neda Badran. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about Wander with Neda and how it's evolved with the UAE's heritage and culture scene.
Sure. So it's all about cultural experiences for the curious traveler, people who are coming to learn about their destination, and of course even locals who live here who are eager to discover more than the same beaten track that everyone seems to go to. So I run tours in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and in Sharjah, and they can range from short tours to full day tours where people enjoy their cities or emirates at length and get to really learn so much more.
Times were that you'd mention the word museum and immediately you get that sort of mental image, wouldn't you, of huge building, lots of dust, lots of libraries, etc., dragged there by a school teacher on a school trip or
and
otherwise.
Parents, yeah.
And parents as well. What about the modern museum experience? Do visitors expect more?
I think they do. So museums have, for so long just been these storehouses of stories, right? So they're places that people go so that they can learn, access information, and it's the role of a museum to actually educate, culturally educate the people that are visiting. And so there are so many different types as well. So whether it's archaeology, history, culture, heritage, and I think that the visitor profiles differ significantly, right? You have many different age groups, nationalities, and genders, and the reasons why people go. You might have a subject enthusiast, someone who is going there eager to learn about a specific topic and is enriched. You might have someone who is going there to, see creativity, right? And is going to be inspired by hundreds or thousands of years of creativity that's in there. People who are there to be a part of a community, right? Share their passion with others. And one of the most important reasons why people go to museums is the weather.
Oh, of course, yeah.
This may surprise you, but when it's too hot or too cold or a rainy day, museums are always full.
Head indoors.
That's where we'll be the next couple of months, that's for sure. And touching on what Tom spoke about earlier, very much the focus of the future, but of course, focused on tradition as well. But now we're looking at an audience who is looking to constantly be stimulated. And the media, the content that museums are putting out has been quite interesting over the last couple of years. I'm talking, really delving into the pop culture scene as well to make it relevant and relatable. I'm talking about Jay-Z, Beyonce basing a whole album around the Louvre and all of their graphics being there. The Night at the Museum, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
These kind of things, kids really open their eyes to these things, right?
Yep, so indeed, movies, films, books that maybe perhaps feature some of these sites are drawing a very different crowd to these places. So what these venues are doing is that they're changing a little bit of their approach. They're going for a media, maybe a social media crowd that is not as likely to visit maybe on a normal basis, but is now very keen to find out, yes, the footsteps of Beyonce and Jay-Z, or even, the Da Vinci Code, retracing the steps of the Robert Langdon. So I think that this is a big change.
Oh, amazing. I love the Da Vinci Code. So Neda, tell us about your top picks for local and international museums. For anyone who maybe doesn't like museums, is not very interested, what would be your most immersive or exciting or experiential experiences when it comes to museums locally?
That's a long list, and I don't know if we have enough time, but I will narrow it down to a couple here in the UAE and then some abroad. In the UAE, I would say the Sharjah Museum of Islamic Civilization has to be one of my favorites. It has thousands of unique artifacts that go back to the great Islamic civilization from the 7th century to the 20th century AD. And then another here in the UAE would be the Louvre Abu Dhabi as well. So that's definitely a favorite, and I'm there every chance I get or every trip to Abu Dhabi that I make. Internationally, I would say there are two that come to mind. One would be the Smithsonian Institution, and that's in Washington, D.C. And then the other would be the Musée d'Orsay, which is in France, in Paris.
What about the role of museums and technology? I mean, a lot of people might suggest that museums equal artifacts, etc., and therefore would that be taking away with technology? Is it important that curators harness the benefit of technology to enhance the visit?
So you're right, things have transformed lately, and the more traditional art, or let's say exhibitions that we're seeing, are becoming much more immersive and animated, right? So these, immersive experiences, they're catering, again, to a much wider audience. So children, families, people who might not necessarily know much about art are now being encouraged to come. And what they'll find is, for instance, a room that's been chosen and then a projection of these works that's on these walls. So you don't really need an art degree or a history degree to understand them. You could be sitting, you could be, standing as well. You're also listening to music, for instance, a playlist that's in the background, which is very different from the quieter museum etiquette that we're much more used to. And also the fact that, the artworks are not so heavily guarded, right?
So there's none of that shh?
No shh.
Yeah.
Okay. You go in and make some noise.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot of that. And Nada, we're going to ask you to stick around for the rest of the episode, which will be delving a lot deeper into what it is you can check out and why museums are such an incredible experience for you. But right now, it is time to take a break. We'll be back with more stories from the nation, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to DXB Today, where we're joined in studio by an Emirati-Italian author, artist, and, of course, advocate of cultural bridging. Please welcome Alia Shamsi, who is the cultural programming manager at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi. Alia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you here. And we've just been hearing from Nada there, it's one of her top picks of experiences here. Louvre has been open how many years now?
We just celebrated our 5th anniversary last year, so yeah.
5 years since the doors opened. So many years in the planning before that.
Many years, yes.
Would you say, and it's probably a bit of a biased answer to this one, but would you say it's lived up to expectations?
If I were to say this from a personal perspective, I studied abroad and I had to go abroad to see, certain artworks. So for me, it is a dream come true to actually have access. These are masterpieces. Every single one of them. And to have that kind of access for all the future generation, this is unbelievable, I must say.
Talk to us about the story of the Louvre and how it came about, especially, of course, being in our capital. There was obviously a demand for it, as you just said, on a personal level. How did it come about from conception all the way to reality?
So it's an intergovernmental agreement. So it's a government agreement between France and Abu Dhabi to create, a joint sort of collaboration. Let's say group of museums, 19 museums from France, lending. But also, there's a very strong identity, which is the UAE identity within it. So it's Louvre Abu Dhabi. And with that is the two concepts I have to say. One is the cultural dialogue that we have, in the UAE, but also this idea of universalism. So it's a wonderful way of expanding the narrative into like a multitude of perspectives. We have the Eurocentric, of course, and the art history around that in Europe, but then in conversation with other civilization, other cultures, and that's what makes Louvre Abu Dhabi very unique.
And is it organized in a particular way, like chronologically through time or through cultures, geography?
So it's not through geography, and the beauty of it is if you enter into our grand vestibules, you have for example, you take one section of it is on the idea of mother, and it's from different parts of the world. It's from Africa, it's from like the ancient pharaohs to the more Christian iconic Madonna. So it's all together put in conversation, so you can imagine it becomes a very different sort of presentation, an idea of the joint, almost like what does it mean to be human and how we're all interconnected within it. So
so you have a very enviable job, a cultural programming director. So the Louvre is iconic for its cultural programs.
Yes.
I love going to the different exhibitions that they have, and I think it just feeds the whole family. But how do you stay ahead of the curve, and how do you select what comes first and what goes next, and all of that?
I think it's really having a very strong strategy of knowing who we are and what do we want to represent. So at the sort of, let's say, the heart of it all is the community, and also these cultural dialogues. So everything that we create is almost a sensory experience of the actual exhibition narrative. So it's how to translate that into a performance, film screenings. For example, we work a lot with local talent. Specifically, National Day is dedicated to the UAE talent and how to take that into an international platform.
I think that's a really important point to make. We're just seeing some of those experiences on the screen now, because a lot of people will think, Louvre Abu Dhabi, just art and sculpture, etc., the traditional tenets, if you like.
Yes.
And yet there is so much more live performances. Even the building itself.
It's just
a living piece of art.
I know. I'm being very biased, but I'm very like.
No, you're absolutely right. It is beautiful.
It is a beautiful work of art in itself. It's Jean Nouvel. Yeah. But the beauty of it is also that he was inspired by Al-Ain Oasis. So as you can see, the different elements of that sort of, we call it rain of light, that was inspired by the oasis, the palm trees, the idea of the Medinas. So everything is like, it looks like you're going through an old Arabian Medina. So, and obviously the water element within Saadiyat cultural district.
Which people can also get to explore by kayaking, I believe, as well.
So again, that idea of, like, as you were saying, this rigid edifice that, we have to be quiet. We have, we're breaking the ground. We're sort of transforming the museum into a public space. So we have kayaking, we do yoga, and now you can actually access the museum through water taxis as well. So the methods of transportation, the experiences are many, and many more to come.
It is extraordinary.
Cannot wait to visit again.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's a must.
Alia, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, on his journey to immerse himself into Emirati culture, Khalid went on a fully customised trolley bus that showcases Dubai's top cultural spots to tourists and visitors alike. Let's check it out.
I'm seeing Dubai in a different way. I'm on the Heritage Bus, and with me today is the marketing manager, Raghad Murad, and she's going to tell us a little bit of what we can see around Dubai. Well, it's a pleasure having you here with us. So what can we experience when we're taking the bus ride?
So the tour starts from Al Fahidi neighborhood, specifically in Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Center for Cultural Understanding. We pass by Al Sif, Dubai Abra, Al Fahidi Fort, Shindagha Museum, and we go all the way to Jumeirah, to Ittihad Museum and Jumeirah Mosque. So the way the route is designed is for us to highlight different aspects of the Emirati culture through those stops. So if we're going, for example, to Ittihad Museum, we touch on the history of the Union and the formation of the country. If we go to Jumeirah Mosque, then we touch on all the Islamic aspects that feed into the culture, for example. So whatever we are on tour, you will get to learn something new about the culture.
How can we experience Dubai differently, especially like when we're on the bus? Because I'm looking at the bus itself. It's beautiful. It looks very historic. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
We designed the bus from the inside. If you see all the cushions, they look like an authentic Emirati majlis. And we added all those elements that you feel like when you're inside, you're maybe inside a house that's reconstructed into a bus. It feeds into the experience itself. So you're inside something that's not as modern as all the other tour buses. You're inside something that feels a little historic.
So can you also tell us what happens when someone is riding on the bus? What will they actually experience, you know, from the culture, not only by just the ride itself?
So all our experiences are led by Emirati cultural ambassadors. So the tour guide himself or herself is an Emirati. They usually sit there or stand right in front, and all the guests are here, and the tour is conducted through them. They tell their stories, they tell their own parts of the culture that they know and experience, and that interaction on of its own, it's very unique and it's very special to Heritage Express.
And how long usually is the bus ride, and as well, from what locations can we take the bus from?
So all the bus rides, they start in our meeting point in Al Fahidi. So you have to take the bus ride from the beginning, so you don't miss on any of the information that's there. We don't actually hop off the bus unless it's in the Shindagha Museum if you opt for the Shindagha Museum experience, or in Jumeirah Mosque. And the experience ranges from 3 hours if we're also hopping off to Shindagha Museum currently, or if you opt for the full experience, which includes the bus ride and an Emirati meal, that would be 4 hours.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm really enjoying the bus routes that it's taken us on. So I can't wait to experience more of it. Thank you.
Certainly looks like Khalid was having fun there. Still on the bus at the moment. He's out there on the buses, is our Khalid. So, no, I hope you enjoyed that one. Certainly seemed to be. Right, it's that time of the evening when it's time for us to round things up. Who better to tell us what's happening out there in the UAE, here in Dubai, is Dua.
Thank you, Mr. Urquhart. So, staying on the topic of Abu Dhabi and the museums, Abu Dhabi is actually set to open a natural history museum in 2025. The fourth museum on the Saadiyat Cultural District after the Louvre Abu Dhabi, Zayed National Museum and the Guggenheim. I can't wait till that opens. In addition, it plans to exhibits curated to illuminate the universe's origin story from the beginning of time until now. A 67-year-old Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton will actually be on display, and a Murchison meteoroid as well. What do we think, guys?
It's all about space at the moment as well, isn't it? A lot of space stuff, which is super exciting. The T-Rex for me is outstanding. My Jurassic Park vision of what my life would be could finally come to life. What is it that you're most looking forward to?
Same. I mean, seeing the dinosaur bones and just getting my fossil fix, I think, would be it. I think it would be interesting to see just what they bring and from where, how old and ancient some of these things are as well. Kids will probably be all over this.
Yeah, any dinosaur called Stan is going to be popular, isn't it? You know, Stan the dinosaur. But also, I mean, what a great addition to that cultural district. You know, they've from the very off, there's always been this intention to turn that into a go-to district. And yeah, look, I mean, you've got things like Louvre, Guggenheim. I don't know if you've passed the district recently. You know, that is coming on apace at the moment, the building down there. So it is a very, very unique space to a lot of the other offerings the UAE has.
And you know what's really interesting about this? It's going to be, you know, the first scientific research museum in the region, you know, which we don't have that many of. So it's really creating that cultural, you know, heritage site. And not only that, we're going to be educating people.
Yeah,
so.
which I think is great, because there's been so many great archaeological findings in recent times across the whole of the Emirates. Bringing that together or having a place to show off those findings would be ideal.
Yep, and it'll be interesting to see also if they start curating online talks where, you know, young ones and just other visitors can just go online and listen to experts discuss some of their findings in the field as they go along.
I love this. We don't have to go anywhere. We just stay right here in the UAE. For now, though, time for a quick break. When we return, we will be exploring a more modern museum right here in the city. Don't go anywhere.
Right then, welcome back to DXB Today. Our next guest here this evening is privy to information about the most beautiful building in the world. I'm talking about the Museum of the Future. Please welcome the Associate Brand and Quality Manager at the MOTF. It is Azza AlNuaimi. Azza, thanks so much indeed for joining us. Really kind of you to give us time.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Look, it's got a soft spot in my... Anyone that's watched our promo will know it's got a soft spot in our mind, because we've filmed down there on a couple of occasions. I challenge anybody out there not to have seen the Museum of the Future from the outside. Maybe not everyone's as lucky to visit it as well because of the demand out there. But how do you to those that haven't been, how do you sum up Museum of the Future?
So, Museum of the Future, to start with, is a very exciting concept for everyone to visit. In fact, it is not as a traditional museum that is dedicated to the past. We look into, it's a gateway for people to, for the future, for great thinkers, visionary designers. It is also a, as you mentioned earlier, one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. And as a matter of fact, it has been called the most beautiful building in the world. Let's not also forget it's a global landmark and a platform for people to study and learn more about the future. It is also a home for people to be inspired by our exhibitions and our exhibits that are happening, let alone the lineup of our events, workshops, and future talks.
And let's not forget, it's very Instagrammable as well, isn't it?
It is one of the. You cannot always forget to take a picture in front of the Museum of the Future.
If you mind blowing. Were you really there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'd say architecture is also a big draw. 100%. So the building, of course, to many people looks like a giant donut, but of course we also say that it is the solid part that represents the knowledge we have today.
Exactly.
And the void there in the middle is what we're trying to, of course, discover.
It's the unknown, exactly.
And I love how it's also on the green, grass area over there, because it reminds you, of course, to also stay humble and of our origins.
And like grounded, and it gives you more like positivity, and the greenery around it just makes you want to breathe.
I mean, so many people who visit Dubai, the first thing they ask me is, Museum of the Future tickets, how do I get them? They are under demand, as Tom said earlier.
Yes.
I believe 1 million visitors in the first year of opening. Do we have a target for 2024?
So what I can say is since opening February 2023, the Museum of the Future welcomed over 1 million visitors from 160 countries around the world. And let's not also forget to add 1,000 international dignitaries, governments, and delegations. Adding to that, we are still opening our doors for more visitors to come, inshallah. And let's not also forget our previous visitors. The doors are always open for them. This year, we're focusing more on listening to our audience, taking their feedback into consideration, and putting it out there for more to raising the bar for the future and how we can enhance it. So we do take feedback of our audiences very dear to heart, and trying to fix it and make it more enhanced for them.
Amazing. Now, Azza, it is the gateway to the future. Tell us a little bit about how you are integrating technologies, experimenting with technologies for the future.
So, as I mentioned, it's also a place where we do enhance technology, and it is our the first thing we go to. We are looking into enhancing it. We've introduced our RoboDog recently, and moving forward with that, our exhibitions and our talents to enhance the technology and make it better, and for people to interact with it close up.
Yeah, you know what I love about Museum of the Future in particular is the sessions that you hold. I mean, you really care about the output and how people are changing their perspective when they enter the Museum of the Future. You want them to be thinking differently once they walk out, and your Future Talk sessions are incredible, mostly because I'm part of it.
Yeah.
But what I love is you're bringing icons, individuals, famous faces from all over the world to the stage to hold really important discussions. Where did that idea come from?
So, as I mentioned, we are trying to reach out to the audience and open an open-ended conversation with them, heart to heart, listen, and give them more information about what's going on around the world. So, as a matter of fact, recently we introduced within our programming department a talk which is called Future Experts, which is focusing more on the leading experts around the world. Recent talk was about Web3, the metaverse, and the future virtual assets. We have small talks, other than the future talk that Nemi was one part of it. It's called Future Experts, where people can have more intimate conversations about the subject, and people get introduced to different industries around the world.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. You're brilliant with what you've achieved already. And this is one that, of course, will grow into the future as well. 100%. Future by name, future by nature. And the last thing I'd say about it, one thing I love about Museum of the Future is that it doesn't matter what time you go past Museum of the Future. If you go down Shakeside Road, it might be first thing in the morning, last thing at night, in the middle of the night. There's always someone outside taking a picture.
Always.
Always someone outside taking a picture.
That's true.
You were going to talk about how beautifully lit up it is.
Always someone there taking a picture.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, on that note, ladies, thank you very much for joining us and enlightening us. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Nada, before you go, though, we do have to put you to the test.
Okay.
We do this little thing. It's called DXB in 60. I'm going to quiz you on what you learnt during this episode or what you were listening to. Okay, so I'm going to ask you as many questions as I can, and you're going to answer as many as you can. Okay?
Is there a clock?
There is a clock. DXB in 60 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. What was the theme of today's show? Culture and heritage or design and infrastructure?
Culture and heritage.
Correct. What is the name of the recently renovated museum featured on the show that submerges visitors into the true Emirati culture? Is it the Coins Museum or the Shindagha Museum?
Shindagha Museum.
Correct. The Emirati-run bus featured on the show is named Heritage Bus or Hala Bus?
Heritage.
Correct. Alia Shamsi is the cultural programming manager at the Louvre Abu Dhabi or Louvre Paris?
Abu Dhabi.
Of course. Which building is termed the most beautiful building in the
Museum
world?
of the Future.
Correct. How old will the UAE be this year? 82 or 52?
52.
How many Emirates does the UAE have? 10 or 7?
7.
Correct. Where is the Museum of the Future located? Is it in Dubai or AlNuaimi?
Dubai.
Correct. What Emirati Italian author and artist was featured on the show? Was it Maha Gargash or Alia Shamsi?
Alia Shamsi.
And what date is the UAE National Day celebrated? Is it the 2nd of December or the 4th of July?
2nd of December.
Okay,
Brilliant.
correct.
Wow,
Time is up. You did very well
Thank
there.
you.
I think that was a clear win. 10 points.
I think so.
10.
Well
Clean
done.
sweep.
Thank you.
Clean sweep. Very good.
Yeah.
Just having a look at the leaderboard now. Yeah, as you can see, 10 loud and proud up on the screen there. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Do I get ice cream or some other treat afterwards?
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly with some entertainment.
Welcome back to DXB Today, where tonight we are joined by a performing artist, Lisa Golden. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to hear you perform a bit later, but I would love to ask you first how the musical journey began.
Well, I come from South Africa, and my songwriting journey began in England. I started going to all the songwriting showcase places like the Bedford and the Regal Rooms, and I eventually played at Guildfest, and I started touring, landed up here, and met the producers that I work with at the moment, Stoyan Stoyanov, and we do lots of stuff together, and yeah, it's just been really wonderful.
Yeah, and tell us more about the music that you're doing at the moment. So you met these producers. What kind of music, how would you describe your music at the moment?
It's pop music predominantly, and it's just from the heart. So, you know, I hope to relate to people, so I write from the heart, and I hope they like it.
No, that's so important. I mean, for you as well, you perform a lot here in Dubai. Where can people find you, and where can they see you online as well?
So I perform Mondays and Tuesdays at Atlantis, and Saturdays at the moment at UBK. There's lots of other things that are happening along the way, and Emirates Golf Club, I perform there quite a bit. And yeah.
Amazing. We see you everywhere, pretty much. And we get to see you perform here tonight. So, Lisa, I'm going to leave you to get ready. Thank you so much for being here. But for now, I'm going to throw it back to Tom Urquhart.
Thank you very much indeed. Hungry? Yeah, you lot. Are you hungry? Well, tomorrow you're going to have to wait because we are announcing the winner of our F&B package, which a lot of people have got involved in. What is it? It's a package for two. Demon Duck. Where's that? Caesar's Palace, Dubai. So all you have to do, last opportunity to get you entered into the competition, into the pick. Go to the Dubai One Instagram page now. Find the competition post, Demon Duck, and tell us why we should pick you.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Remember, you can join in on the fun by using the hashtag DXB today and tell us what you'd like to see on the show. Guys, what was your highlight of today's show? I had so many.
I feel inspired to just take a drive down to Abu Dhabi right now. You know, I want to go to Abu Dhabi, I want to go to the Louvre, I want to experience...
It'll be closed by the time you get there.
Yeah, probably. OK, maybe tomorrow we can carpool. Anyone up for it?
Sure.
I'm up for it. I'm always up for a road trip.
I know you
But
are.
honestly, I actually have never been to the Sharjah Islamic Museum, you know, so that's definitely one on my list.
Yeah, it's just good to see that there is so much investment going into the cultural and the museum infrastructure here. And it comes in all different shapes and sizes, as we've seen, you know, relics of the past to the concepts of the future. There was one announced last week, wasn't there, of the new Dubai Reef, which is going to be basically an underwater museum, a living reef.
Wow.
That is also going to be a sort of living laboratory to allow those specialists to sort of look at how different sort of species can exist in the waters here in the UAE. That's all been coming under the sort of cultural building up of the coastal lands here as well. So
Wow.
kudos to them.
It really is the city of the future. I mean, who would have thought a marine biology-focused museum? Like,
And you know, like
seriously.
Nana said earlier, I think, you know, really giving the focus for the kids as well, bring the kids into this, Tom. You got kids. Tell us more. How will you get them involved?
Mate, there is no chance of getting them involved. Absolutely none.
We can try. We can try our best.
The very mention, I'd get the word. I think I'd get the opening M of museum out my word, and they'd be gone.
Look, I
Locking themselves in
think
bedroom.
the celebrities showing up and coming to these museums. I mean,
Absolutely.
you see at the Museum of the Future, Idris Elba was there. Every star that's in town is at the museum. So I feel like the kids will, you know, keep an eye and hopefully
We'll be down with it.
hopefully get a piece themselves. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for tonight's episode. But that is all from us tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us, as always. We will see you tomorrow for the weekend special. But for now, Lisa, over to you.
Hold me in a million layers, sweet and soft and as moment I'd always fall in. Tough moments of hope to find, gentle heart, oh so wild, moment I'd always fall in. Your laughter is the kind that I'm left breathless for. Always make me smile, I want more. You can say this isn't serious, say we have no plan, say your walls unbreakable, but look at me like that, look at me like that. Cool, but dance with me and I'm a fool. Moment I'd always fall in. So unsure, I feel so good when you pull me close like a could. Moment I'd always fall in. Your laughter is the kind that I'm left breathless for. Always make me smile, I want more. You can say this isn't serious, say we have no plan, say your walls unbreakable, but look at me like that, look at me like that. Say that you're all you'll live for, freedom's all you want, but feel your heart beating bold when you look at me like that, like that. Look at me like that. Look at me like that. Look at me like that. Why the hell do I always fall for someone I can't have? I don't know. Maybe my wishing you do is all in my head, all in my head. You can say this isn't serious. You can say we have no plan. You can say your walls unbreakable, but look at me like that. You can say this isn't serious. Say we have no plan. You can say your walls unbreakable when you look at me like that. Look at me like that. Say that you're all you live for. Freedom's all you want. But I can feel your heart beating for when you look at me like that. Look at me like that.